It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
I got an email one day and it said, "Hey, Luke, we saw you on YouTube and we would like to put this clip into the Barbie movie." Me sitting on the tailgate with a mini fridge, opening it up to grab a drink was a cameo for the part where they say, "What do men in the real world do?" Again, I'm not into stereotypes or anything, but I like to make the jokes like, men in the real world, we tailgate.
Started as a kid with a team to believe in. Every win and loss left my heart still beating. Year after year through the rain and the sun, learning that faith is what makes us strong.
The kick is up, and the kick is good afternoon, and welcome back to the Super Fan Diaries. I'm your host, J.R. Greene, recording from our studios on Broadway in downtown Nash Vegas, bringing you the biggest sports, the biggest moments, and the biggest fans, celebrating passionate sports figures and their unique stories. Yes, legends. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share your own game day traditions or stories online. Today's story isn't about one team. It's about the moment before kickoff. The giant barbecue grills, the music, the cornhole, the strangers who feel like family. Before the trophies, before the viral tailgates, before creating the official tailgating day in America, there was a kid who didn't just love football. He loved the feeling around it. This fan didn't choose a team. He chose the sport of tailgating itself. Get ready for one of the most creative minds in sports culture, the founder of Tailgating Challenge, Luke Lorick. Welcome to the show, Luke.
I love that one. That was so good, and I don't know if I deserve that much praise, but I appreciate the introduction out there for it. So yeah, no, and you said the sport of tailgating, which I'm a big believer that tailgating is a sport.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it is. If you think about how competitive it is, I've been to a lot of tailgates in my life on a lot of different fields and a lot of places. These people compete. They compete for food. They compete for showmanship. I mean, let's face it. You're from Gamecock country, right?
I am alumni 04 out of Gamecock country.
You've got one of the most famous tailgaters that dressed that whole tailgating Gamecock van up that used to be an ambulance. And I mean, they're like giving out shots and drinks. So tailgating takes it to another level. And I am just thrilled to have an individual who's been able to create Tailgating Challenge into a sport. And so we're just going to jump into the background before getting in more about Tailgating Challenge. And what was the first football moment that hooked you, not to a team, but to the sport of tailgating itself?
So it was when I was a child, actually going to a University of South Carolina game. I still remember being outside of Williams-Brice as probably less than 10 years old, throwing the football, eating some Zestos chicken for those that know that, and just being and having fun with family and friends. There was something about that resonated me at an early age. And as I got older, I just knew that was something I wanted to do more and more of. And that's also how Tailgating Challenge was born too.
Gosh, awesome. That's pretty awesome. Well, so tell me this. When you were growing up, as a young child as well, what did football Saturdays feel like where you lived?
So again, SEC country, like football.
SEC. SEC.
Yes. It's always been a big thing. And so just being able to go out there, like my dad went to University of South Carolina. So it was like I was a Gamecock fan from birth, right? And so that was just something that it's like the game was on, we're watching it. But then when we started going to the games, that's where it took it to the next level for me, because I was like, oh my gosh, there's a whole nother level aside from just watching the game on TV of the things that happen prior to the game that are so much fun for me as a young kid and still as an adult.
You know, one of the things about tailgating, as you prepped on here, before you even came on, I was doing a little research on you and everything, and it made me realize that of all the locations I've been, I don't think I've ever been to a tailgate that failed. Like I've been to some that may have run out of food or maybe run out of beer, but like no one loses usually. I mean, maybe it's some Buffalo Bills if they're jumping onto the tables and stuff. They may lose something. Sure. But I mean, at the end of the day, most tailgates, they're winning. I mean, just like you said, they're family, they're fun. And in some places, I know I can think of Knoxville, you've got Ole Miss. It can get crowded. And I know we're going to get into more of that because you've been to so many. At what point did tailgating stop being something you just attended and start becoming something you wanted to build? Did this happen while you were a student attending tailgates in Columbia?
No, it actually happened afterwards. So I'll be honest. So I was working in Atlanta, Georgia at the time, and I woke up one night and I just said tailgating challenge. And I literally got out of bed, got on the computer, and made a Facebook page for tailgating challenge, not knowing what I wanted to do with it or anything. But
Yeah.
I knew with some of the business degrees I had, with my love of tailgating, something was there. So I made it, went back to bed, and then from there I started to build out the Facebook, at the time
Yeah.
Twitter, Instagram, building a website, and then starting to actually work to make it into something that would be fun and help increase the tailgating culture for all the people that come visit the site and I get to see at tailgates.
Oh, that's now. You said business degrees. Do you have more than one business degree? What how many business degrees do you have?
That was like a shameless plug, I guess, for myself. I guess I didn't mean to do that, but no, I do have a management degree out of University of South Carolina and then an MBA from Southern Wesleyan University.
Oh, outstanding. I mean, you're smart. I mean, you've got the double doozy
I have moments, but we're all still human.
All right, listen to this. Okay, before we start talking football and we jump into this, I got to know. I mean, our producers and everybody, they wanted to know this.
Sure.
You went from King of Tailgates to being in a Barbie movie? How did this happen?
That is always the one thing, like when I'm telling my story to people, like when I say that, they're like, okay, cool, you've done this and that and Guinness World Records and everything. But they were like, wait, you Barbie movie? I know for people that are listening and not watching, I make the joke. It's like, I don't know if I have a face for the Barbie movie, but I still was on there for 2 seconds. So again, it's a very short cameo on there. And the backstory of it, because I feel like that is integral to the part of this messaging, is that I got an email one day and it said, hey, Luke, we saw you on YouTube and we would like to put this clip into the Barbie movie.
Really? Okay, which clip was it from YouTube? I mean, that's awesome.
For sure. No, and the first thing I thought, I was like, sure you do. Because I just like a lot of people listening, you get a lot of spam messages and stuff. Yeah. But then when I started to look at the address, I was like, wait, this is actually a Warner Brothers legitimate email address. So then I was like, okay, now I'm super intrigued and interested. And so the video that they wanted to pull the short excerpt out of was when I had a beer fridge that I actually took to the back of my pickup truck and hooked it up from there, which is a little bit different because most of the time you're thinking a cooler and not an actual plug-in mini fridge. And I'm doing it and I'm opening it up, grabbing a drink out of it. That was the part. Me sitting on the tailgate with a mini fridge, opening it up to grab a drink was the cameo for the part where they say, what do men in the real world do? Again, I'm not into stereotypes or anything, but I like to make the jokes like, men in the real world, we tailgate. That part was in there whenever Ken went to the real world.
All right, we're definitely going to put that clip on your page within superfandiaries.com because folks that are watching the Barbie movie, cross-pollination here, Luke. You've got super fans and you got Barbie. A lot of Barbie fans go to tailgates. So there is still that bending there from that business marketing point of view. All right, jumping back into it, was there a moment when you realized I'm not just a fan, I'm creating something bigger than just one game?
I think that moment, I think it started with that night where I woke up and said, I'm going to do something with the sport of tailgating on a bigger degree. I didn't know what it was going to be, honestly, at the time. But I think when that started to tip a little bit was when I was thinking like, oh, let me see, like there's a national day for everything, right? National Talk, like a pirate day, eat cookies day.
Everything. Pinata day.
And so I was like, let me see when National Tailgating Day is because I need to make sure I celebrate it and do the stuff, with Tailgating Challenge.
Yeah.
When I learned there was not a National Tailgating Day, that's when I feel like, hey, I took it upon myself to make sure like we have that. Now it's going to be the 11th annual this September for it. But I think that's the part where it started to tip a little bit, where it's like, okay, you were dabbling with tailgating, but now you're doing cultural shifts. Like people are talking about this and celebrating this across the nation on this particular day.
Well, I mean, I've got a lot of images right now. Right now, Luke, a lot of images. The first one that's coming to me is Jerry Maguire. I picture you that you're in a current job, and all of a sudden you have this dream at night. You go out and buy your Facebook page, or not buy it, but you get on Facebook, you start this vision, you write your memo, and then you deliver this what I'll call amazing idea of tailgating challenge. Was it like that? Were you working at a job and the very next day you said, this is my calling?
So again, I'm still working my current day job on top of doing tailgating challenge. So again, like I would love to say that, I had it and then I was able to run with it and I'm independently wealthy off of tailgating challenge. Not quite yet. We're going to keep on hustling and see if we can make that dream come true. But I make the joke is I'm an insurance professional by day and a tailgater by night.
That's good. Well, you need insurance with tailgates, especially some of these with a big old barbecues. All right. Well, I got to say, everything you're doing sounds a lot less like just watching football and more like designing the culture around it. So tell us this, what makes a great tailgate in your opinion? Because you are the king. You are the master. You know it. You've probably been to more tailgates than anybody even listening on or watching on YouTube. What makes a great tailgate?
So to me, this is going to sound like a very I'll say basic answer, but I truly believe it. The people at the tailgate are going to determine how good the tailgate is. If you're going with your family and friends, you have the right supporting cast with you. It doesn't matter if you barely had any money to spend on food and drinks, it's going to be awesome, right? So starting with that. Now, where you want me to go with it is okay, we got that part.
No, but you're right about that. Luke, I've got to back you up on that because it goes back to saying, a lot of times people get frustrated about what restaurant to go to, where to go. And at the end of the day, if you're with your friends, and I'm thinking about tailgates right now. I've been to some tailgates that all they had was, sorry for any under the age of 21 listeners and viewers, but all they had was Jack Daniels and Red Solo Cup. And I mean, people are sitting there taking, that's all they had. Right. And guess what? We had a lot of fun, and that was still a great tailgate.
No doubt. But so if you do have the right people and you want to do some things to help elevate your tailgate, then you want to start making sure that do you have the proper drinks, right? And again, nothing against Jack Daniels. I think that's a good compliment for some of the things in the cooler, but making sure you have some beers, maybe some hard liquors, depending on what that looks like. And if you're going to have kids there, I always recommend having 2 separate coolers so there's no confusion. This one's for the kids, this one's for the adults. And again, I have to remind myself, as much as some of the people listening, for those of us that do enjoy a couple of adult beverages, it's okay to rehydrate and have a little bit of water along the way. You'll thank me later for that pro tip. But drinks, and again, when you're doing the food, do your prep work ahead of time. So you're not, if you're big time into grilling, because you want to enjoy some of the tailgates, so have some of that prep work done so you can focus on the grilling and then hopefully the chilling after that. And with the food too, bring more than you think you need, because that's one of the reasons why I fell in love with tailgating too, is everyone is very inclusive. You're gonna have a few oddballs, of course, out there, but before a game, I see fans come together of opposing teams all the time and break bread and share drinks. And I get invited over to tailgates. People don't even know me, right? And they're like, hey, you want a drink? You want some food? What can we do for you? And I'm just if the world was more like most tailgates are, we'd probably live in a better place.
Well, now, Luke, that's also pregame. Now, have you ever experienced that same love after an actual game? Because I don't know if I have seen that.
Different. Post-game might be different, right? Because at that point, then the teams went to battle. And when the teams had to lose, right? And so then some people's feelings get hurt and things like that. So again, we're focusing on the pre-game tailgate for that part of the conversation. 100%.
Pre-tailgate, yes.
All
right, go ahead. Yes, keep going.
All right, so food, drinks, and then making sure too, you have the right gear, you have some games, you have some music, you have some of those supplementary things that people are going to really enjoy to bring the whole tailgate together with that. And don't be the person too that brings so many speakers that it blows everyone else out of the water where they can't even talk or listen to their tailgates. Be respectful of your tailgating neighbors. I feel like I'm preaching to people versus telling them tips, but I digress.
But you're right about this. I mean, right now, I'll just tell you point blank my own opinion of going into Neyland Stadium, which is a Tennessee football stadium that's in Knoxville. And right now, the music that they have set up right there on the field, blasting into the stadium, it is so loud that you can't really talk to the person next to you. And guess what? The only thing I can think of is when I go to Preds games. And I know we're supposed to be super loud. And I'm sure the Seattle Seahawks are like, dang right, we love being loud. But it is I know, I'm old, Luke. I'm old. I know. For all the young people listening, they're like, such a loser. He's wearing ears plugs. I mean, the reality is, I just don't want to lose my hearing, and there's nothing worse than going by a tailgate. I'm just telling you for all the tailgate. I'm just agreeing with Luke here. If your tailgate is just so loud that I can't even hear myself or talk to somebody, we're not going to go to that tailgate. There's no conversation to be done because you want to do conversation, not necessarily dance.
For sure. I think that's a piece of it too. Because in this world we live in, we either are working so much, and when we're not at work, we might be watching TV on our cell phones, scrolling socials, where tailgate is you minimize some of that noise and you can actually have more like conversations that we used to have a lot more in society, but they
Yes.
come back at the tailgate too, which is one of the things I appreciate.
All right. So thinking about this, have you ever walked into a tailgate, into one particular tailgate that comes to mind and thought, okay, this is elite?
I mean, luckily, I've been to a lot of different tailgates, and
Oh,
there
I
are a
know.
lot of elite tailgates out there for it. So, again, I've been to like
Give me
Penn
the big
State.
one.
All right, Penn State had an elite tailgate that when I went out there. Michigan, when I went there, had some elite tailgates
Well,
that I
tell me
went
about the
to.
Penn State one. Tell me what they do to
Okay.
make it so elite. Yeah.
So again, what I love the location, right? So again,
Yeah.
if you're closer to the stadium around other like fans, that's amazing. I know it costs more money, so that's not lost on me either. But again, if you get a good location where you can be around like some other fans,
Yep.
that's always more fun. And then they did a lot from the culinary side with a lot of unique food items. So it wasn't just like, here's a burger and a dog. I mean, that was the easy stuff they were doing. And then they were
Yeah.
doing a host of other things throughout the course of the day with
Wow.
different like levels of food. And I was like, wow, it makes my, that's why I love coming to somebody else's tailgate and it's cooking. So I don't have to and can enjoy it. But like the people that really take it to the next level and have all the different like foods, like some of these tailgates start in the morning. Like in Penn State, we were there
Oh,
in
yeah.
the morning and it was a night game, right? So you had a breakfast and a lunch that was rolled in there.
And maybe an early dinner? I mean, or snacks or something before they
you
go into the
could,
7 o'clock
you could,
game.
for sure.
Oh my gosh. Now, how do you just get invited to lots of different tailgates around the country, or do you plan on just, proactively selecting, I'm going to go to these games this year?
Normally, I select some ones to go to that are going to work with my schedule and everything.
Yep.
And and I'll be honest, like might sound kind of weird for some people listening, but there's a lot of times I go where I might not even know anybody or have anybody even going with me because I'm like, you know what?
Yeah, you're out to explore.
I can make friends and see the culture and experience whether I have a team with me or I'm just by myself. And that's a testament to these tailgates where it's just like I
Yeah.
feel it's going to be so inclusive that it doesn't matter. Like they don't even know this guy, but they're still good. People are still going to welcome me, talk to me, and have a good time, which is
Well,
amazing.
Luke, as you're on this show and other people get to know you, everybody's going to want you to come to their tailgate because you're
And
going to
I
be able
look
to tell
forward to
everybody.
coming.
Yeah, and you're going to be able to tell everybody this tailgate was elite. So think about that Penn State fan that's out there that can watch the show. They're feeling pretty good right now about their culinary delights. All right, on the flip side, that's a culinary way to go, Penn State, of having a very calm, cultured culinary delight from a chef. I feel like a Michelin-level chef was there. All right, what's the wildest tailgate setup you've ever seen?
I'll say the wildest just tailgating in general. So I'll pivot your question just a little bit.
Yeah, take it.
Night games at LSU are unlike anything people have ever seen. If you have not been there for one of those, I remember going to one and we were walking to get in line to go in the game. And somebody, again, I don't even know, he has like two, I don't know, they were Jack Daniels, whatever they were. He was running by anybody that wanted, he would just pour shots in their mouth. When we get into the stadium, like the national anthem comes on, I swear half the stadium pulls a flask out of their back pocket to raise it up during the anthem to take shots. And I was like, these are true party tailgaters, no doubt.
Yeah, you just love that they're in LSU, Baton Rouge country. They're allowed to put a flask up to listen to the American anthem. And you just think about any other stadium, those people are going to go to jail or they're at least going to lose the flask. I mean, that's one of the things. And sadly, in LSU, I think you can be 18 and drink. Maybe I'm wrong, but definitely it's a different culture.
For sure. Yeah. LSU night game, anybody that loves tailgating, you have to check it out. Like, I'm not an LSU fan or anything, but go check it out. It is a fun experience.
I'm just thinking about some of these tailgates you've seen. Has anyone ever done like just some type of tailgate with because I know, and I'm going to, pick on Gamecock country, the ambulance, the Fambulance that was created is an example of what I consider a pretty wild investment of capital tailgating. You visit a lot of them. Have you ever seen any type of particular tailgate specifically? LSU, game over. We all know that's going to be wild. But someone built something unique, or they had a unique car, or just someone had like a water, I don't know, I'm just making this up, like a mini water park. Who knows what someone brought to the tailgate country?
No doubt. Now, it's funny because ambulances, like, I feel like I've seen them at multiple different tailgates. Like, Packers have one, Arizona State had one. I saw one in Oregon, obviously South Carolina. So again, there's probably a lot more out there too. So I guess these a lot of people are repurposing ambulances to be the new official vehicles of tailgating.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, you have all that room. I mean, like it's basically like a trailer on wheels a little bit. So you could see how they utilize it in that capacity.
But the other one, like just like that, I say down the street from me here in Colorado, is going to be there's a fire truck that they have right outside the stadium that somebody brings every single tailgate for the fired up tailgating crew that does that. And they actually have a fire truck retrofitted for tailgating, which
see, that's cool.
Epic.
That's
Epic.
wild to me. Like that is all right. So we've got ambulances, we've got fire trucks. Throw us out anything else you've seen because
I got one more for you, just in the spirit of public service. So we got the fire trucks, we got the ambulance. How about I did an event at the Snoop Dogg Bowl game in Tucson in December of 2025, and they had a police car out there that had a full hydraulic setup on it, and they let me hit the switches, which was awesome.
That is incredible. First off, they have the police car out there. It had the lights, the stripes, everything. It looked like an official one, but with the super duped up capability.
No doubt, no doubt. Hydraulics on a police car. I was like, I've got to at least ask them if they'll let me hit a switch on that car. And they said, sure, go for it.
I love it. I love it. It feels like Luke went from trying to stand out. He was actually trying to give fans a new way to belong. That's the first quarter. Time for a quick break. We'll be right back.
Started as a kid with a team to believe in. Every win and loss left my heart still beating.
Welcome back. Luke, let's dive in. You're not tied to one team. You're tied to the sport of tailgating. How does that change the way you experience games?
So I guess I will say I am tied to the sport of tailgating. I'm still a Gamecock fan for my college team. So I'm still tied to them.
Yep.
But like when I travel the country and go to these tailgates, most of the time a team that I'm air quote pulling for is not playing. Right, I'm pulling for the tailgate. Right, going back to the motto of like, hey, we've never lost a tailgate type of deal. And so like that's my focus. It's let me see the culture. Let me meet some amazing people and just like kind of, I say, fill my soul with the tailgating gospel, so to speak, whenever I'm getting out there traveling the country and doing that. So like that's really my mission when I'm out there doing that stuff and getting a lot of fun content along the way that I can memorialize some of this to share it with our tailgating followers.
I have to say, and I'm not necessarily able to do it because I am so selfish as a Tennessee Vol fan that no matter what game I'm watching, I'm always diabolically trying to figure out which one winning will help my team in some capacity. So that way I always will find someone. And if not helping Tennessee, then I almost always am going for the underdog. And I can't help myself. But I think it sounds like you've been able to go to these tailgates. You go in with that, and you probably have a lot of fun because you don't have to emotionally feel sick if they lose.
Right. And I love that part. Like, there's no stress with it because it's like people are like, because I'll roll up in like colors that don't match either team. And I do that intentionally because I don't want it to be like, oh my gosh, this tailgating guy only pulls for X, Y, and Z team.
Exactly. Yep.
Now, again, if it's my Gamecocks, I might
it is what it is.
Gear.
Yeah. Full respect
for it. But it's also interesting too, like as I've been to a lot of these different schools and tailgates and just met some like really amazing people and friends that I still talk to this day that I didn't even know before I tailgated. Like I find myself like, oh, like if Oregon's playing, I'm like, I might pull for Oregon like in this game. I have like a little bit of a rooting interest now just because I know the quality of some of the people that are at these universities.
Oh, see, I didn't even think about that because you're getting to meet a lot of the fans because you're traveling, because you're here. You're part of what I'll call your wonderful new job and what I'll call hyper level hobby is going to tailgates. Now, obviously, we've talked a lot around football, but do you go to like NASCAR or baseball? I mean, like I think Mississippi State has a pretty big tailgating atmosphere before baseball games. So have you experienced anything outside of football?
Sure. So obviously, I say that football is king or queen, depending on how you want to term that.
Yep.
Like, and again, I know NASCAR is amazing. I have not done it yet, and I know I need to. As being like the tailgating guy, like I've got to get out there, so I'm going to hold myself accountable for that because, like, everything I hear, like it's right up there with football with this now. Yeah. I've tailgated for some baseball games and basketball. And of course, it's like we said at the beginning of the show, like it's always amazing when you're going out with some of your friends and doing some tailgating with it. Yep. But the atmosphere is not as big. People aren't showing up as early. So it's not quite on that level. But like I'm the believer too, like, hey, I will tailgate for almost any event. just let me know what you want to do.
I wonder internationally, do soccer fans? I mean, I'm so ignorant. I know Super Fan Diaries, we cover all sports globally,
Sure.
but like I'm trying to think about in Berlin or watching Ronaldo games in Portugal. Like do they tailgate? I don't know. Do they like have huge tailgates like we do in America?
So I'll tell you just with what, because one of my my little logo that I first made when I started Tailgating Challenge in 2012, it said going global at the bottom of it. And one of the things I've learned like doing that is like the word tailgating does not resonate the same way really outside of the like Canada, United States, and then outside of that, there are some
Yep.
people that follow like the NFL and do some of that stuff overseas that understand it, but most do not. So
Yeah.
like they still do a level of that, but a lot of times it's going to like one of the pubs or bars and then going to the game. So it's a similar element, but not really setting up in a parking lot and going to all that extravagant
Yeah.
stuff we do as tailgaters sometimes. So it's a little bit different when you start to go overseas.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's something I've always known. All right, well, real quick, I had to ask you because I jumped right into that because I had to know about all the different tailgating experiences. But going back to loyalty, do you ever get heat when you show up with that very neutral color at a tailgate and someone says, "Who you got to pick somebody, my man"?
I mean, really, once people understand like who I am and what I'm doing, they're like, "Oh, cool." Then they're like, "Well, hey, he's not against us, right?" So they're like, "Come on in, let's have a good time." So I've really never gotten heat from anybody in regards to that aspect. The one time, like I got heat this past season, so I have this like
Yeah.
tailgating champion belt right here, and on the side there are like holsters for drinks, right? And so at one of
love
them,
it.
I'd been like 3 days of tailgating, and I was about wrapped up, and I was walking back to get out of there because I wasn't going maybe as aggressively as I do at some tailgates.
Yep.
And somebody's like, "How are you the tailgating champ? You don't even have a beer in your holster." And so I was like, "All right, that's fair."
That's fair. He wasn't picking you on a team. It's the fact that you're carrying around a tailgating championship belt.
If you have the belt on, it's like you got to be held to a higher standard. So I understand and respect that.
He caught you. Look at that great coaching on the field there.
For sure.
All right. If football culture, or really specifically, if tailgating culture was a product, what would the label say?
I was put out there. I'll say my motto: don't hate, just tailgate. Back to like if we have less hate,
I
in this
love
world,
it.
we do
Don't
more
hate,
than
just
tailgating.
tailgate. I love
Like
that.
That's the product that I want everyone to have, right? Of less hate in this world. And I believe tailgates, people are more inclusive than they normally are outside of them. And I know that's kind of sad to say, but I truly believe that in traveling the country and seeing this for years now. It's like if people acted the way they did at a tailgate, most people, there's always a 1%, that person don't need to act that way. But I do believe this world would probably be a little bit better place. So, yeah.
You know, I'm always just trying to think about a tailgating etiquette, Luke. And I mean, you're at the center of it, but is there a tailgating etiquette? Because I know that when I go to tailgate and I've got my home base, if
Sure.
I'm walking along, am I allowed to just walk into a random tailgate and take food? Like, or that's a big no-no. You got to just stick. You only eat food
I
from
wouldn't
your
just walk
tailgate.
up in there and just take stuff. Like, I feel like that's like walking to somebody's house and just taking stuff out of there.
Okay. That's what I wanted to get clarity on.
So I would say, don't do that part. Now, again, just saying, hey, like, what's up? Like, who's running this tailgate or whatever the case may be, and then making friends. Most of the time, they're going to offer you something. But
Yep.
I would say, don't just roll up in there and grab 6 beers out the cooler and not even say anything. That is a party foul. That is fail gating right there for those that want to know that word.
And you're exactly right. I'm just, for the folks out there listening, because we have a lot of fans on this show that watch it that are not what I'll call diehard sports fans. So they really haven't tailgated. They listen to the show because they love to hear from people like you, and they want to see all the wild, incredible enthusiasm these fans bring with the makeup. And think just like you mentioned before, Bronco Babe and others, they know those, what I'll call characters. They know those, those individuals. They love to hear their stories, but they haven't been to tailgating. So I could just see some rookie tailgater just beginning to walk tailgate to tailgate. And you, just like you said, that's faux pas. You do not do that. So make sure to get to know them. Let's go back to being human beings. Let's be cordial. You can't just go in their house because it literally, like you just said, would be like, hey, I'm just going to go borrow the milk real quick to fill up my cereal. Can't do that, my friends.
Exactly. So I would say that is a faux pas. Just make friends. Just again, with authentic communication, just say hello. And most of the time, if you need something, you're going to get hooked up anyways.
All right. You built a whole brand that you're wearing on your shirt right now around tailgating. How does that fit into your everyday life?
Well, tailgating has become a major part of my life because, like I said, this is still a side hustle for me. So think when I have a day job and then I'm doing this, so I wake up early to work and do all things tailgating to get posts done, get things out there, respond to messages. And I try to respond to as many messages as people and comments that people put out there.
Yeah.
I might miss some, but like that was one of the things when I was like starting because I watched some people like ascend and then it's kind of like they just, so they forgot about everybody, right? Type of deal. So it's like I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to respond and interact with those people that are taking a moment to ask a question or weigh in on that stuff. But yeah, no, it's like, I mean, I say tailgating is kind of life now,
Yeah.
right? And it keeps being a bigger and bigger piece as I go down this journey as well, too.
Has anyone ever thought this was a crazy idea? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, what has anyone ever give you that type of question?
I don't know if people would like maybe said crazy idea, but I know there's like, hey, like shout out, my mom will listen to this episode because she listened to everything and supported this from day one, 100% with it.
Hey, at least we're going to have one person watch this show. Yeah, Luke.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're going to at least one view, we
got one view, one download.
But no, I do feel like I'm not trying to be like ageist or anything, but I do feel like those that may be a little more tenured in life don't quite understand like how this can be a job, right? And then like getting back to the part of like there is monetization like to these things, right? Everything we do, there's levels even on people watching on YouTube, right? There's levels of monetization to that. But for those that don't understand the business standpoint, of course, they're like, look, I mean, you spend so much time like doing all this content and editing and getting it out there and traveling the country, and you're calling this a business? I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, it's a registered trademark with you, United States of America, even. So it's like, it is legitimate, and we are doing good things over here. But I think it's people that don't quite understand the business aspect of it because I go back to like, it sounds bad, but I make this look fun. Right. Again, I get tons of cool products in all the time and I'm showing it off and I'm traveling, going to tailgates. And it's like, we're shooting content where we're eating food and drinking beer. Right. And again, on service, like, oh my gosh,
greatest job ever.
Stuff. Yeah. But what they don't see is like, okay, when I'm, spending, 7 hours a day after my day job, right. Doing all the things, making the connections, having the phone calls, building the brand, editing the videos and all that stuff. Like that's the part that people don't see. They see the fun part, which is awesome. That's the way I want it to be.
And I can speak to this as well because I am older, and I think that I fall into the habit of, just like you said before, and I know my mother-in-law, well, she's very difficult in terms of understanding what are you doing, JR? Like, how do you even make a penny doing this? And I think that there is no question that the gap of learning for my own mom as well, yes, she's my biggest fan, I would believe, next to my wife and children. But I would go out there and just say that it's hard because even for me, I need help to be able to do the replies and to understand all those pieces because I don't really understand it. I mean, like when I first started doing the show, I know this production team was trying to help me out with like Instagram, and I just call it, HTML, the World Wide Web, because I still formulated back in that. So I do know that so many people don't understand, but the reality is the world's changed. And I mean, YouTube, other stations, these people are now able to just look at Mr. Beast. He's like the king of the world of social media, making $1 billion off making one post that has 1 billion people watch, and it does generate income. But it's very, very different. It goes back to media too, Luke. I mean, a lot of people that may have the opportunity to be on ESPN, if they're doing really good YouTube, people say, don't do that. You're going to make more money by being on YouTube. Most people can't, they're still not at the point, Luke, and even me, to really understand how that all works. But evidently, it must be reality for certain people and for some actions out there. But that's just something, think about that. It's like, that's why you're doing what you're doing, building YouTube and building your podcast and everything around Tailgating Challenge. So, but thinking about this, because I just mentioned my mom, my mother-in-law, who in the world supports this obsession of yours, this passion of yours, the most?
Well, it's got to be two people, right? My mom, my wife.
Okay.
Now, again, I have a lot of good friends. A lot of people help me randomly jump in videos or hold a camera. But when it comes to those that have like supported like consistently day over day over day, mom, and then my beautiful, lovely wife that's upstairs right now that allows me this extra time to go and like chase my dream and my passion of tailgating.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, hey, I have to throw up for my wife as well. She let me have a chance to go into an organization when I jumped into entrepreneurship and take a company that was losing a lot of money and help build it to make a nickel. And I think that's amazing when you have spouses that'll help you like that. All right.
For sure.
Do you think building Tailgating Challenge changed your confidence off the field too?
I would say yes to a certain extent. So, I mean, not to get too personal, I was very introverted as a child, and I started to build some confidence when I started to get involved in some sports and car
Yep.
clubs and going to the gym and stuff. But that was kind of in college, right? So I'd started to do that, but I feel like this has, and I think the biggest piece of that to answer your question is being comfortable on camera. And that is translated into easier conversations to just be able to walk up and basically talk to anyone. Where young Luke wasn't doing that.
It's
right?
hard. It's hard to do.
Luke is like, hey, where's the camera? Is there a good person? Let's talk, right? I'm looking for anybody that's an amazing person just to go talk to with it.
Yeah.
But that's not how I was when when all this started.
No, it's incredibly hard. All right, we are going to head to break, but when we return, Luke will have to pick sides and let the world know who are the biggest fans. Be sure to visit superfandiaries.com and leave a comment or a review and nominate your favorite fans to be on the show. We'll be right back.
Started as a kid with a team to believe in. Every win and loss left my heart still beating.
We are back with the founder of Tailgate Challenge, Luke Lorick. And now time to dive into your learnings of all the wild fan bases you've had the chance to join and cheer of their own teams. All right, got to do it. We told the people before the break.
Okay.
Let's jump to selecting. You have tailgated everywhere, lots of different sports, locations. I know we've heard a little bit about Penn State already. So we're going to start small.
Okay.
Who has better tailgates, SEC football teams or Big Ten football teams?
I'm an SEC guy. So, again, no offense to the Big Ten, but SEC all day.
I love it. All right. You have viewed and you have become the Consumer Reports expert of tailgates, experiencing 700 different tailgating items. I've seen it on your website. 700. And you've been on TV being interviewed.
By the day.
Yes. And you've been on television to tell people as the Consumer Report expert of tailgating. So if you could only choose one item to take to your next tailgate, what item is it and why?
Man, that is a really hard question because I'm looking around my basement. There's tailgating gear literally all
I have
over
no
our
doubt.
house, if I'm being honest. And so to pick one thing is really hard. I think it would depend. Oh man, I feel like my mind automatically goes to a motorized cooler is just so fun for a tailgate. A cooler you could jump on and ride around like a motorcycle. And then it's a cooler. I feel like that's an easy answer and not one
That
of the
does sound cool.
When I'm flying, I can't take that with me. But again, I could probably give you a list of all the.
No,
all
you
the
just said it. I love that. I mean, a motorized tailgating refrigerator that moves around. I mean, that's pretty up there. I mean, that would
It's
be
fun. It's
people
fun,
show
trust
up.
me.
Yeah, they're like that's pretty cool. All right, who has better organized and entertaining tailgates? NASCAR, NFL football, or college football?
As I said, I have not experienced NASCAR in person, so this will be against NFL and college.
Yep.
I'm a college football guy. I believe
We'll
the
stick to
fan
college.
bases are more passionate. There's more culture around it. And I love going to college football games. Not that I dislike NFL ones, but there's something different about these college towns and going to tailgates on a Saturday afternoon.
Now, I know I've asked about NASCAR twice, but the only reason being is I've only been to one NASCAR event, and it was in Charlotte. And I mean, I've been to a lot of SEC football games and quite a few of NFL, and that NASCAR event was pretty legit. The trailers coming in, the number of people. So I do think it could compete, but I don't think that NASCAR in any way, shape, or form has the power. Because in that situation, you're really tailgating to enjoy a great race, and you can support your particular driver. But when you go to any Kentucky, I'll throw out any SEC school, you've got people that are just diehard that team, and the rebel rousing is so much fun. All right, now time to know. Let us know who are the top 3 tailgating teams you've ever experienced in any sport. Top 3.
Top 3. Okay, I'll see if I can diversify a little bit. I have to give love to my Gamecocks, right? Because I grew up with them.
Yep.
I lived through the 0-21 2 seasons back to back of not winning a game, and we still were out there tailgating and selling out the stadium every time. So that's all we need to hear in regards to like Gamecock stuff.
They're loyal.
I've said Penn State before, but I'm going to say it again too, because
Big Ten team finding their way in there.
I have not seen a fan base. I mean, I was out there almost 12 hours in advance of kickoff, and there were probably more people already tailgating than at some of smaller colleges that I want to throw any dirt on anybody's name, but like they have more people tailgating 12 hours than some schools have right before the game, right? And I was like, wow, this is impressive for it. And then finally, I'm going to do it. I know like LSU is awesome. I'm going to go to Oregon.
Oregon?
I know
you just went top 3 and 2 of them are Big Ten.
Hey, again, that's a weighted average for it. But like with that, like Oregon was so unique because it literally, like I was walking through the woods at one point to get to this. I was like, are we lost? Like we were literally walking, like there's nobody there. We're walking through the woods and we pop out and there's like a big old like tailgating place. Like it's the most nature. I'm a big nature guy. It's like the most nature-esque tailgate I've ever seen. There's water everywhere. There's literally ducks everywhere, not just Oregon ducks, but I guess they probably are Oregon ducks. They live in Oregon. And there was something about that was just really like, it just hit a little bit different because of the nature aspect of it.
Well, I've been to Oregon. I actually had a great opportunity to play band in Oregon. I'm a golfer. I attempt to be a golfer with my 16.7 handicap. But I will say that Oregon is gorgeous, and there's no question about it. It deserves a lot of the piece. But I do think that Phil Knight is really helping to ensure that Oregon football remains at the top. So they're going to always have that benefactor that's going to be able to, as long as he's alive, to keep supporting Oregon football, to keep it going. But the good news is, as we're discussing, it doesn't matter if you have a benefactor or not. If you've got strong tailgating passion, just look at South Carolina. They still had people show up and they couldn't win a game. And that is impressive. All right, what do you hope people feel when they experience a tailgating challenge event?
So an event, or I guess meeting me or whatever the case may be with that, I hope you feel included. I hope you feel seen. And I hope you have a lot of freaking fun. Right? Because that's one of the things I'm going to do too. Because when I'm doing these things at these events, not only am I checking out what people have going on, but like sometimes I'm doing challenges, I'm testing out new gear. And so people can see some of that in person. Like for one of the challenges I did, like at the Snoop Dogg Bowl game, like they had me down there in Tucson at the University of Arizona for that. And I did a challenge where they could win a custom like championship belt from Trophy Smack. And teams of 2 had to compete to set up a tailgating tent, 4 tailgating chairs. They then had to shotgun a beverage out of the cooler. It had to be non-alcoholic per the guidelines they gave me for that. And then they had to make a shot on a tailgating game. And the fastest time was going to win. So
that's fun.
Yeah, doing some challenges like that to really interact with some of the fans. I don't do that at every tailgate, but my goal is to start to do more of that. And my hope is for anybody watching, it's like, you watch like Pat McAfee do the field goal kick before.
Huge. So successful. Yep.
So I'm like, maybe there's this place someday to do like a tailgating challenge event. Maybe not on ESPN. Maybe it's a big noon kickoff, whatever that looks like, and having people like get excited to be able to win something and doing that on TV to again just spread that tailgating gospel and fun.
Oh, I love that. I hope that comes to life because I could see that. I mean, especially the tailgating competitions between, different tailgatings competing and win money. But I see something like that happening. I really do. I think that fans are out there and, as long as they don't have their children with them and they can focus on the tailgate, I think they're ready to go. All right, jumping to something a little bit more personal. Has football or tailgating ever helped you through something personal?
I would say yes. And I would say that from the fact that I love, like I said, my Gamecocks and everything. And so like, if they're actually winning, which I know is not as much as I want it to, like it does boost endorphins and make me a little bit happier. Right. Again, there's probably other people that understand that part too. I'm not saying that it's right and we shouldn't let teams dictate our happiness all the time, but there is a little bit of that. But I think with the tailgating aspect of like, to me, it's like therapy for my soul. As I mentioned earlier, like
I love it.
I work in corporate America now for 20 plus years, and we work a lot. I'm sure the people listening to this, there's a lot of people out there that are working really freaking hard, tied to a computer, an office, whatever the case may be. And again, going back to, you can go out to a tailgate for an event, you can drink a beer, you can have a burger, you can have some food, and then just talk to your friends and meet some new ones. There is
Yeah.
something very therapeutic about that for me.
I think you could talk to any licensed clinical professional and they would probably agree with you. I think that community is huge, and I think it's one of the reasons I do this. I love it. It brings me happiness to do this show every time I do it because of the excitement, the fan, the endorphins, the piece of it, and I'm not having to kick a field goal. And so it's still just so much fun to do it. All right, with that, we're going to go to one of the fan favorites. It's called the Desert Fan Island Questions. I'm going to ask you 5 different questions. Pretend you're a tailgating challenge of your favorite stadium in the world. You're by yourself, just you in the stadium on an island, deserted. You get 1 movie. You get 1 musical group or song, 1 tailgate food, 1 drink, and 1 person to tailgate with. Number 1, what's your movie?
I'm going to 8 Mile. I am an 8 Mile fan. I watch that movie a lot. So there you go. Eminem, you only get 1 shot. So
You only get 1 shot. That's immediately what I thought of. Like, you only get 1 shot. You better make it happen. That's a great movie, by the way. I love the end of that film. It's awesome.
Love it.
All right. 1, well, you've already just mentioned that. See, I'm not going to let you just pick on that Eminem song. 1 musical act that you would like to have playing.
I'm a big hip hop guy. I won't say Eminem again. Like somebody that really like boosts my spirits. And again, not that it's going to be family friendly for everybody that listens to it, but Kevin Gates is one of my favorite artists out there.
Okay.
Especially with the song that says, "I don't get tired." Like that boosts me up every time because if they're saying you can't get tired, then you really can't get tired. You got to keep on going to keep having a good time.
I love it. I love it. All right. 1 tailgate food. You just get 1. And I know you've experienced a lot. What is it?
I'm a simple man in that respect. Give me a good burger with all the fixings where I can build it the way I want to. Like, boom.
I like it. I like it. You get to control the fixings. All right. 1 drink.
I'm a beer guy. So give me a local craft IPA for wherever is local in that area.
There you go. All right. 1 person to tailgate with.
1 person to tailgate with. I'm going to go back to, I mean, I know people like say, I want to say my mom. My mom's not a really big tailgater. I love her, but it's just like, that's not really her. I'm going to go back to, I remember, I have a few friends that are really good tailgaters with me. I'm going to say Dustin. Dustin Baldwin, if you're listening to this episode.
Dustin.
And I'm going to tell why real fast. We went to a Carolina baseball game, like right when I first started Tailgating Challenge. And it was literally the first photo I think ever shared on the channel. It's just us sitting out there in the parking lot tailgating by ourselves, just like because we're like that passionate and focused.
Well, you've already done it.
With some tailgating.
You've already done what the question was. It was just you 2 by yourselves tailgating. It's awesome.
There you go.
All right. So Dustin gets to be the 1 person. I'm going to throw you a bonus question. You get to have 1 football legend, any football legend from any team to join you guys. Who's joining you and Dustin?
Joe Montana. I'm a 49ers fan. I just watched the new Rise of the 49ers show that just came on in February.
Yes.
And so he's been the reason why I love the 49ers. And so Joe Montana would be who I would pick.
Boom, boom. All right, the buzzer beaters. I'm going to ask you again, quick questions. Throw out the answer that comes right to mind. Ready? Buzzer beater number 1. College football or NFL?
College.
Now, there's an easy one for you. Best tailgate food of all time?
Hamburger.
Yep. Parking lot tailgate or stadium seats?
Parking lot tailgate.
The 1 song that instantly feels like game day?
We Ready.
We Ready. Who sings that?
Is it? I think Pastor Troy.
All right. Well, I love that you nailed that. Finish the sentence. If in a wrestling match, I would want this fan base to be my tag team partner.
Buffalo Bills, Bills Mafia.
That's actually a good answer. Let me tell you, I probably would want them as well. I mean, or, Baltimore Ravens too, but just something about getting the folks to be a darn good tag team partner. Craziest thing you've personally seen at a tailgate?
Unfortunately, it probably involved somebody that had too much to drink, and they thought they were going to dance on one of the tent poles, and they missed the pole and fell down. They were okay. But again, there's stuff out there that happens. There's probably a lot of those crazy stories, especially when you mix a little bit of alcohol with it. But that's the first one that came to mind. So sorry for the long answer.
I love it. Years from now, what do you hope Tailgating Challenge and your role in football and sports culture is remembered for?
I hope that it is, when you think tailgating, you think Tailgating Challenge. And I hope that there is a focus on, like I said, a major sports network to focus on tailgating, because that is such a huge part where millions of people do that every single week. And I feel like there's not enough focus on that currently in the media. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to do with my brand and the push for the tailgating gospel.
I love it. I love it. Luke isn't loyal to one team outside of the Gamecocks. He's loyal to the feeling of football. He reminds us that sometimes the magic doesn't happen on the field. It happens in the parking lot before the kickoff. This is the Superfan Diaries. I'm J.R. Greene. Follow, review, and nominate your favorite fan at superfandiaries.com. And remember, if you make one person smile today, you've had a great day. Make them laugh, even better. Thank you for your time, and goodbye.